Hey guys, it's Belias, the most sexy troll in TWG, even more sexy than Manny Punch. He just can't compete with me, just like I can't compete with the sexy ladies of the Wraith Guard. And yeah, not only are they hot, they're amazingly intelligent and powerful. So unless you are kind of partial to getting a bone sword up your ass, I wouldn't mess with any in Coliseum or Duel. But yeah, this isn't about me kissing ass, so I'm just gonna get on to the vlog. Basically, on my first vlog, I said my first vlog that I only got around to uploading today. I said my next vlog would be about equipment in PvP, in Coliseum rather, and I said I was going to demonstrate some things, but, well, I may as well. So yeah, I'm going to demonstrate some things. Like, well, if this ever stops lagging, like, my comment the other day about equipment that has the same attack as defense. It doesn't really matter who you put that equipment on because they always get the same bonus. But there is something that you should think about before you just slap it on to anyone. You should think about the other kinds of equipment you have. I mean, like, it would be a really good idea to put some of that equipment onto your healer position if you don't have really good defensive gear like Dow's gear, right? Because there's more attack oriented gear in the game than there is defense oriented gear. So what you do is you put your equal attack to defense equipment on your healer before anyone else. And yeah, basically because that equipment's really good. Like the Master at Arms equipment, that's some damn good shit, right? So, you know, if you don't have Dow's Cuirass, Dow's Helm, all that good stuff, then put Master of Arms on your healer. And you know, I actually I tested this out, right? I put Man at Arms on my tank, and then I attacked somebody with my healer using Dow's gear. And what came up was the healer got a 2400 power bonus by having Dow's gear. Then I swapped the gear, and lo and behold, the tank and the healer, it didn't matter which one was wearing the Man-at-Arms gear, they got the same bonus, right? Exactly the same. But when I put Dow's gear on the tank, they had a 2000 power bonus. So the healer got 2400 and the tank got 2000. So even though it didn't matter which had the Man-at-Arms gear, it did matter because the Dow's gear is what made the difference, right? It gave me an extra 400 points. And I did the same thing with my melee and ranged, right? And the thing is, in my Coliseum guide, I said if you have Ariala's gear, you can afford to put it on your melee. It's not a bad position to put the gear on, even though the gear is better suited for ranged. And my way of rationalizing that was that the melee gets a 20% bonus and the ranged doesn't. So even though the ranged gets more points of attack for the Ariala gear than the melee does, it really doesn't matter because the melee gets the 20% bonus. So when I tested this whole theory out in Coliseum, it actually kind of surprised me. They turned out to be the same. So it actually doesn't matter which one gets the Ariala gear. Obviously, if you're in the healer position, you're going to put the Ariala gear on the ranged because then they do get the 20% bonus, right? But if you're in the range position, it doesn't matter which one gets the Ariala gear. But again, it does matter, and what you want to consider is what your other gear is, right? And the thing is, I've got some Hyadati, I don't know how to pronounce that. I've got some Hyadati of the Wandering Warrior, right? Um, yeah, I figured this gear is pretty good for attack, so I went ahead and left the Ariala gear here, right? I should sometime soon end up getting a full set of Kalissa gear, and yeah, the thing is, the Kalissa gear is not as good as the Ariala gear, right? Like the Ariala gear, it has more power, right? So basically, if I put the Ariala gear on my ranged and I put the Kalissa gear on my melee, what I would end up with is a lower 20% bonus. And, you know, the range doesn't get a bonus at all, right? So it makes more sense to put the weaker gear on the range and to put the stronger gear on the melee. And, you know, you have to consider that 20% bonus, right? Because the melee is going to get less of a 20% bonus with the Kalissa gear than they are with the Ariala gear. And, you know, it would be a totally different ball game if I had another set of Master at Arms, right? But I don't actually have any relics right now, so I can't upgrade my Man at Arms. But it's just something you want to consider, right? Like, I think for having these 5 pieces of equipment, the Ariala armor, my melee got a bonus of 1400 power, right? Same with the range. They got a bonus of 1400 power. So I guess what you want to consider is this Kalissa shit, right? Kalissa, I already figured it out. Each piece of Kalissa gives you almost 190 power, right? So 5 pieces will give you close to 1,000, right? So if you put the Kalissa gear on the melee, you get 1,000 plus the 20% bonus. That is 1,200. And if you put the Ariala gear on the melee, you get 1,400 plus 20%. That's 280. So it's 1,680, which is going to be more, right? 1,680 and 1,000, or 1,400 and 1,200. I don't need to do the math anymore for that. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? It's a numbers game. It's just addition at that point. So yeah, you're going to get a little bit more of a bonus by putting good offensive gear like Ariala's gear on melee, and that's something you're going to want to consider if you're going to be a serious PvPer. Like you kind of have to step outside of the box a bit as far as the formulas go. You know, unless you have a lot of relics and you can craft a lot of Master at Arms gear, you've got to think outside the box, and it'll step your PvP game up considerably if you consider, or if you take into account my whole attack over offense factor formula, which is basically attack over defense. That's it, and you know, those factors, you can do it also with the formulas of each position. So yeah, that's something you want to take into consideration, and yeah, I think that's pretty much all I had to say. So till next time, good luck with your PvP.